I want to circle back to Lindsey Graham because we laid out what he wanted to do, this show of loyalty. It didn't quite work out. By Friday morning, only 44 of 53 Republicans in the Senate had signed on to his resolution, attacking the impeachment inquiry. And so it was initially, meant to show that he had this rock solid base of support, but instead it showed that there were some holes in that. And to sort of buttress that, the Daily Caller contacted all, that's where I go for good journalism, contacted all, but in this it doesn't really matter, contacted all 53 Republican Senate offices earlier this week to ask if senators would rule out voting to remove Trump from office, and received a variety of responses. 7 senators explicitly rejected impeachment in their statement. But what they did not find is that all of them were like, no, we definitely will support the president. There did seem to be a little bit of a gradient there.
So this is a really important story because this gets to, will they convict him in the Senate? Or is there enough of a threat of conviction in the Senate for Trump to resign in shame, etc.? So this is really bad news for Trump. Now, look, we can't help but be fair. I think Daily Caller's made up a number of stories. They're not a trustworthy source, but do they have conservative sources? And in this case, they love the president, and yet they went and asked 53 Republican senators. Only 7 of them said, I won't do impeachment.
Right.
Okay, so obviously the senators would convict after impeachment, but that is not a good sign for President Trump. President Trump would want the Daily Caller to reach out and get 50 out of the 53 senators going, oh, no way I'm gonna convict. That's not even, I'm not even willing to consider it. Lindsey Graham puts pressure on them, says, sign this, sign this, sign this. And they go, nope, not gonna do it. He waters it down to, oh, there's some procedural problems with how the Democrats are proceeding. And only 44 out of 53 senators even signed that. Yeah. They don't even agree there's procedural problems. They won't say yes to the watered down, useless resolution that Lindsey Graham wound up with. That means they're all weighing things out. These are Republican senators. Yeah. So they're thinking, am I gonna win? Am I gonna lose? What's my poll numbers? What am I doing here? That means they have not decided Trump is in a world of trouble.
Yeah. I mean, back to something you said earlier, I think it's really interesting we're looking back on previous impeachments and looking at Clinton, for example. And this is sort of the beginning of when a super centrist, very pro-corporate, very moderate Democrat was piled on by the right, and all kinds of conspiracy theories were created about the Clintons, et cetera, stuff that we've dealt with up until now even, right? And at that moment, I think you saw the Democrats were taken aback by like, well, here we've put up a very moderate centrist, whatever, like criminal justice reform, welfare reform, pro-NAFTA president for you, and you're still tearing him down. And instead of pivoting and being like, oh, we have to be more offensive, they pivoted and kind of rolled over. I mean, I was alive and around during those impeachment hearings, and I don't remember the Democrats making a strong case for the fact that we're talking about fellatio, like adultery, private people's lives, of which, of course, there's no comparison to the kinds of things that Trump has done in his personal life. But Democrats, we usually don't get on our moral high horse, and I think that we should, right? Not just about adultery, but all of these other things. So I think you're seeing the withering end of that very bad strategy from the Democrats to sort of capitulate to the right wing. And now that the ball is in our court, I'm like, what are Democrats gonna do? And I just wanna say that I think progressives can't cede impeachment discussion only to people like Nancy Pelosi. Like, I think just because we agree with her on impeachment doesn't mean that more establishment centrist Democrats should control that narrative. Because what happens? It's that we stop reiterating the facts. We start to play on the, well, hey, we followed the rules, guys. Oh, you don't like the rules? Oh no, well, okay, I guess we won't talk about it anymore, or we won't keep on saying, all of the crimes that have been committed. Do you know what I'm saying here?
I know exactly what you're saying, Francesca. The problem is you're too rational, and no one in Washington is going to listen to that. So I was just talking to people in Washington today, and so what you say makes perfect sense. Let's say I'm a congressman or a senator that's a Democrat right now. What do I care what Schumer or Pelosi says? I'm gonna come out on fire and I'm gonna attack, right? But in the Washington culture, and I'm telling you, I have sources inside Washington. I talk to other media inside Washington.
Trey Gowdy.
And so the culture is, oh no, Pelosi and Schiff are in charge. That's it. Sure. So everybody else go away. Otherwise, oh, you're ruining things by actually doing something positive, by fighting back. Don't do that, don't do that. We have a wonderfully timid strategy we're executing. And if you go beyond that, you have no idea how much trouble you'll be in the Democratic caucus.
Yeah, and while I think you're right that Democrats should be out in the media pushing the case against Trump, they should also, while we're relatively early on in the process, continue to push back against the Pelosi strategy of this extremely narrowly defined inquiry. I don't think it's necessarily too late to put pressure on her to expand it to some of literally just the crimes that we've brought up in this past segment.
I disagree. Like, that's the one thing that I disagree on. I think some progressives think there should be a really broad impeachment inquiry. I disagree. I think this is a perfect instance, a criminal instance that I think people can get on board with, including, as we just talked about, a lot of Republicans. I think it was smart. What I'm saying is, if it doesn't take, if the Senate, which we probably assume will not vote to impeach, we can't let the narrative of the crimes and take stock of all of the things, including maybe the broader stuff, but specifically this Ukrainian stuff, we can't let that fall by the wayside. At the same time that we can't let the issues of income inequality and climate change and all of the other things fall by the wayside either. I guess I'm wondering if we can walk and chew gum, but as we go into 2020.
Yeah, so let me say the last two things about that. One is on the issue of, look, for example, what we just did here, Pelosi and the Democratic caucus would find unacceptable. We had a slight disagreement about strategy, and we did it publicly. So John and I think that they should pursue him on at least 4 crimes and maybe the emoluments clause. Francesca says just 2 crimes, the 2 crimes involved in the Ukraine call, right? Yeah. So, but Democrats think that's unproductive. No, you want a national debate about whether Donald Trump created 2 crimes or committed 2 crimes or 4 crimes.
It's a great debate.
That's the debate you want.
It looks amazing for Democrats if we just fully talk about all of the crimes. Or we're like, I don't know, what is the emoluments clause? Let's go over that again.
Yes, because if you bring it up, even if all Democrats don't agree with you, at least we're having a conversation, a national conversation about the things that Trump has done wrong. Okay, and so that leads me to the last point. Guys, all this is good and important, and we're telling you the substance of what he did wrong, and we've said it 100 times. But remember, the only thing that matters is not any of the facts, is not any of the law. The only thing that matters is Republican senator polling numbers in their home states. The ones that are up for election in 2020, if they start to drop into the low 40s and high 30s, and that's where McConnell is already, it's not even high 30s, he's mid 30s, they're going to panic because they're going to lose their own seats. For incumbents, if you're under 50%, that means you're in trouble. If you're bordering 40%, you're almost certainly going to lose. And so that will determine whether they're going to convict Donald Trump or not. That's it. There is no conversation, any conversation that happens on TV, and it happens all the time, about, well, will McConnell or Senator Isaacson from Georgia act on principle? Will he put country above party? No, that is incredibly naive. No, the only question is, are they gonna lose or are they not gonna lose? If they think they're gonna lose their own seats, Trump is in trouble. And that's what this story says. Republican senators are in a best case scenario for Trump are not at all sure if they're going to support him because it might cost them their own seats. And if he loses them, it's game, set, and match. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.